Okay, what? Axelmock 4 reviews, and today I have with me. You guys introduce yourselves.
I don't want to.
I am AnimeFanTalk, and thank you, Axel, for having me here.
Yes.
And I'm just the friend of Axel. That's all.
And
And thanks for having me here too.
so now we're on the topic of Naruto. Do y'all like to discuss how it started?
The Land of the Waves. I think my score for that arc, I will give it a 10 out of 10.
That was
I
a
love
wonderful
that
arc.
arc.
What was that? What?
I love the arc for Land and Waves.
Yeah, with Zabuza and Kakashi.
Right now, out of all Naruto, I'm just caught up through Shippuden Guide and everything. Zabuza is still my second favorite villain.
Yeah, he was a really good villain.
Too bad he had to die that way. Kind of badass though.
Sure left an impression though.
A question you said?
So how do you like how Naruto became actual Genin? Going back to the roots of Naruto. How you tricked into taking the scroll and you mastered the Shaolin.
What was that, Axel? You said
How do y'all like how Naruto became a Genin when he was tricked to taking the scroll? They learned the Shaolin Jutsu.
I'm surprised you learned it that quickly. He never had much for.
Well, I mean, he had the
so.
original scroll, and he spent hours on it.
I don't know. I think what Emily said, maybe.
It was the first time I've seen him so driven and so wanting to prove himself. It just caught me by surprise. That really was the first time seeing that.
But I gotta tell you, that it was a really good part. I gotta admit, it got me hooked in Naruto. And when he saved his Sensei Ruka, the quote,
that was an amazing moment.
"Did you ever lay a hand on my Sensei again? I'll kill you."
The enemy that Naruto was talking to, doesn't he come back in a filler arc?
Yes, when Orochimaru gave him like an animal curse mark where he took powers of animals.
Yeah, I think that the beginning with that character was pretty well, or went pretty well, and to see him again back in the filler arc was excellent.
Yeah, it was a nice feeling, and you get those legendary dumb brothers. It was interesting seeing how they interacted. So, what do you consider a highlight from when Naruto first becomes a ninja all the way to Zabuza? Which part of that would you consider the best?
Sasuke's death. Well, first death. I didn't expect that.
I think Naruto talking to Haku, and then talking to Zabuza.
Those feelings when he actually made Zabuza cry.
I mean, yeah, the feels were strong, and the way, or not the way, what they were talking about, the friendship and the hatred, the ninja world. It was a huge theme that would play out through the entire series. So that to me is the highlight of the arc.
It truly is. And what I find really hilarious is exactly what Zabuza said. This will happen at the very end of Naruto. The strong use the weak.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh. Yeah.
Toby used the Katsuki's, or I guess Obito, and he was used by Madara, who was used by Kaguya. Like everyone just used each other.
Yeah.
Really fall into the theme real strongly. Zabuza left a strong impression.
He did.
Let's talk about how badass Zabuza was.
You know what I like though, coming out of that arc is the Great Naruto Bridge, and like so many chapters later, we see Sasuke coming back to the bridge. It was a good feeling.
Yeah,
So, like I think that was the very first moment or the first kind of statue where Naruto submitted his legacy. So now him as a Hokage, oh
yeah, the place almost got real popular as soon as Naruto became Hokage.
yeah.
What do you like about the fight between Zabuza and Kakashi?
I think it was just seeing what all the hype is about for Kakashi because in the very beginning, um, Kakashi was I think the characters will talk about how powerful, well not really how powerful Kakashi was, but how Kakashi is a skilled ninja, and I wanted to see what he can do against Zabuza. So I think I don't know. I have to go into full detail with this, but I can't describe it. But just seeing Kakashi for the first time going in a real battle was amazing. To see where he was, power wise.
Oh, it was very fantastic. And I was caught in awe when I watched him copy the Water Dragon Jutsu,
Yeah.
like the longest jutsu in history. Just keeping up somewhat even faster than Zabuza. Uh, but even with, like, Kakashi obviously bested him round two, but the first round, Zabuza even bested him. How did y'all think about that, where Kakashi even lost his first official fight?
It was actually kind of surprising, because I always saw Kakashi as someone that'll always win the battle, because
Yeah,
of his legacy, I think,
the
or his
Kakashi came off.
skill or something.
I mean, they never exactly said he was like number one, but he came off like I don't know, like above the rest. Like he was no joke. He was the ones that the other ninja
Above
feared.
average.
More than above average. He was given off almost like a genius, like head of Ombu kind of thing, which he was at one
He
point.
is a
So.
genius.
But yeah, he even got trapped in the water prison jutsu. It's the first time Naruto and Sasuke even worked together. Windmill Shadow Shuriken or whatever it was called.
Yep. You know what I'm really disappointed was was my microphone acting up?
Yeah, you just muted yourself and I don't know where you went. It was not acting up anymore. You should mute it.
Mm.
Okay, now you dropped.
Oh,
Anyways,
Uh,
Emily, what do you think about that? With Sasuke and Naruto first working together and their windmill shadow
Sasuke and
shurikens?
Naruto's first what?
They first worked together against Zabuza.
They worked really good together, and Naruto being the hot-headed kind of guy, I didn't think that. I thought he would be the first one to be knocked out, not Sasuke. But instead, that didn't happen.
That happened what?
Oh, he's back.
Hello?
You back?
Is my mic good?
Yeah, it doesn't seem that bad.
Alright, so like I was saying, it was what I liked the most, but then looking back at it now, I'm just
Oh,
disappointed in Kishimoto, is that Haku was the very first character that we saw using a Kenkai Genkai. What was it?
Kekai, Inkai.
Something like that, where ice powers.
Yeah.
ice
This
and
is level
water.
2 is ice
And
manipulation.
wind. Water and wind. It's water and wind.
Yeah, and
But
then
it's wind based element, but it was Kekkai's ice manipulation.
I don't think we've ever saw another one kind of like that. Maybe with Earth. Not too sure, but
Well, what's the war? They gave you some random ones, people you didn't know.
yeah, I was gonna say.
How do you, what threw me off was the hand signs.
The one hand what?
The one handed hand signs Aki did.
Oh,
Oh.
But that jutsu was perfect for taking someone out. Like Clash, those one handed jutsu,
mhm.
those stop me confused.
It was like, how was that possible? But it happened, and
Yeah, Haki did it. We never seen it again.
it worked.
And I mean, it even caught
Oh, yeah.
Sasuke off guard. The only reason why he was able to dodge was practically the Uchiha blood, the Sharingan. I mean, he didn't have Sharingan activated, but I mean that's kind of what they specialize in. See movies ahead of time.
Do you think any of the other Seven Swordsmen in the Mist were in that area where Naruto was when he was fighting against Zabuza?
Possibly, but they did state that Zabuza was the only member of the first
Oh.
generation to still be alive.
So he was the only character alive.
Of the first generation, Zabuza was the only one alive.
Oh,
Of the second generation, it was kind of they kind of hinted at it that only Kasami is left. They practically said all of the generations are in third or fourth.
makes sense.
So Zabuza is a true badass because he just survived all his generations. I loved his backstory though. He was like 7 years old, and he went into the academy of 10, 13-year-olds and killed them all.
Yeah, that was a.
With his bare hands too. That was a good way to introduce what his character is like. Why he's called Demon.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that.
It was a really short backstory, but it gave so much information about him and why he became the person he is now.
It was quick
So
to the
yeah, that
point.
was really great, actually.
It did give you quite a little shock too, because you're like, oh shit, he's the real deal.
He killed everybody. Oh man.
What I'm a little disappointed though is his sword art. Like later on, we learn about the sword's abilities to drink blood. I'm kind of disappointed that Zabuza didn't portray it during the art.
What was that? Your next one.
Zabuza's sword has the ability to drink blood and regenerate, but during the arc, they didn't show it at all.
Does Kakashi have his sword now?
Kakashi?
Like in the war, does he have his sword?
I don't think so.
Does he have Zabuza's sword?
Ooh,
During the war, no.
don't know.
Oh, so it was okay. I mean, since Kakashi did defeat
I believe.
Zabuza,
Yeah, but I believe.
in the Land of the Wave, I'm not too sure if he did keep the sword or didn't keep it, but I think it would have felt right for Kakashi to take Zabuza's sword.
Kakashi left it on Zabuza's grave.
Yeah.
Well, like stabbed in the ground behind his grave, like kind of a memorial.
Like in honor.
And that's why Zabuza didn't have it during the war, because Sugetsu took it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Though it would have been pretty cool to see him with it. So what do you guys think about Naruto and Sasuke's first kiss?
I saw a theory that because Naruto and Sasuke kiss, it was they mixed their DNA with each other, so they can easily get the Rinnegan. I thought that was pretty funny. But the kiss, I don't know. I thought it was funny.
It was hilarious, and it really threw me through a loop because I never expect them to make the main character kiss another guy right off the bat. I mean, Naruto's obviously introduced to, like, he's into Sakura, like, this straight off the back. We know he likes Sakura. So for him to turn around and kiss Sasuke like that was real funny.
Mm-hmm.
I know in the flashback when Sasuke saves Naruto from Haku, Naruto has all his memories. I know they'll like to show the kiss towards the end. I know that always makes me laugh. Because you think he's having all these memories of why he misses him, why he didn't want him to die. And they throw the kiss in.
So, the Land of the Waves, do you think this arc is what pulled in so many Naruto fans? What got them started watching Naruto? Or do you think it was the first episode?
I think the first episode. Okay, I'm echoing somewhere.
I mean, the first episode got me interested, and I thought the first episode was an 8 out of 10, and because it was so interesting, I continued to watch, and when we get to that arc, the Land of the Waves, then I knew that Naruto was amazing.
Yeah.
So, for me, the Land of the Waves is what got me into Naruto.
See, for me, I feel like the first episode really hooks you in. After the whole where he saves Ruka, like that part hooks everyone in. I do feel like the Land of Waves is where everyone acknowledges it's a good series, and I think that straight from the Land of Waves to the Chunin exams is why the Chunin exams is so popular. Because how Land of Waves, everyone just loves it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, the Chunin exams were amazing. They did Still Dill for me too.
I would have, I do like the tuning. I like the tuning exam. Oh my gosh, the tuning exams. I love it, but some of the matchups in the first round, I really uh,
You
disagree
mean
with.
Neji and Hinata?
Yeah, I'm talking about like those kind of matchups. I think they should have mixed it up a little bit. I mean, what if Neji was going up against Gaara?
That would have been interesting.
That would
Yeah,
have been
Do you think
fun.
that Neji strikes can take the sand from the chakra
yeah,
from the sand, make the sand fall?
yeah.
But
That would
usually
be.
it's more interesting to watch a fight between
Well, I won't lie though,
houses.
because I did enjoy watching the Neji Hinata fight, because is what you saw what Hugos are capable of doing, and it really
Yeah.
did hype up Naruto's fight. But like, I don't like Sasuke's fight with that random guy who was on Kabuto's team.
Oh yeah, that
Uh,
fight I didn't care much for.
I didn't care for it. I mean, I get it was to well, Sasuke is weak, so try and give him some more fodder. But I think it would have been better if he fought someone of a higher tier. Imagine if he was the one to take out Sasuke or something like Sasuke wants revenge. I think that would have like sold better.
Oh yeah, that would have.
And like Choji, like his fight was kind of just fuck it, we're over with it.
And then there was Shino, the bug type.
And he just
Hmm.
Shino just was a bad matchup for Saku. Like Shino owned him in every way. Like Shino was his counter. That fight was kind of like there could have been more to it.
Yeah,
It was too easy.
Yeah, because Shino countered Zaku completely. Shino was pretty much his weakness because all Shino needed to do was have Bug sneak up into him, and he can't do a thing. So if Lee fought someone else other than Gaara, who would you like
Lee,
to see him fight?
Lee fought Gaara, but if Lee was gonna go up against someone else, I think it should have been Kankuro, Gaara's
Conqueror?
brother.
Why?
Why Conqueror?
What? What?
You said why Conqueror?
Uh, I think the puppets versus Rock Lee would be interesting because if Rock Lee wants to win, he's got to go through Kankuro's puppets, and after he defeats the puppets, he's gonna have to go after Kankuro. So
Hmm.
The thing about that is, I don't think Conqueror would stand much chance without poison, and poison's not,
so,
it's illegal
so
to use.
so you're saying Kankuro would win against Lee?
I mean, if he had poison and Lee would punch a puppet and get poison, Conqueror might be able to overcome him, but without the poison, Conqueror won't stand a chance.
Hmm.
I would like to see Lee fight Sasuke at his peak, like not all injured. I would like to see him fight Neji, because they always hyped up that they're big rivals, but they never got a fight.
Oh yeah.
And I would like to see a rematch between Lee and Dosu. Now that Lee knows what Dosu can do, he's gonna try to have to fight it against it.
Yeah. So going from the land of the waves, transitioning into the tuning exams. Um, huh. What if the tuning exams came first, and then after that it was, the land of the waves? Because if I remember, they said that this was a top mission, and Naruto wasn't really,
Hmm.
uh, ready for that. But then he still went with Kakashi. So what if after the tuning exams, he's shown and prove himself? How do you feel about that?
Well, the thing about it is they were gonna put him on a mission for tuning, like a mission a tuning lead was getting, kind
Mm.
of like a full squad, just because Naruto kept complaining. But the whole Land of Waves happened to be a Jonin mission level, like a full Jonin squad. They were way not prepared for that. So I honestly wouldn't really mind much of it being changed from there.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, Zabuza would probably wreck majority of Leaf Jonings. Uh, other than Guy and Kakashi, I think Asuma could put up a fight against Zabuza.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Asuma's pretty badass. The only real reason for his defeat was kind of, you could hurt the guy without hurting yourself. So it's not a fair matchup.
I agree.
Wasn't Azuma one of the 10 or like 12 like bodyguards for the like Emperor of the Land of Fire or something like that?
Land of the Fire, yeah.
Yeah.
12 actually.
Um, when I take a look back at the early Naruto, I'm just so surprised how they kept the Akatsuki in the dark. I mean, like, what if Pain showed up in early Naruto? That would have been just so. Oh,
Your Pain would.
It would have been too
That's
soon.
no joke. They would have just lost.
I mean, I remember, like, I was watching Toonami. I was watching the Naruto and Sasuke fight. I remember seeing Zetsu, and I was like, oh my god, another Akatsuki. What is going on? So, the Akatsuki in early Naruto was so much epicness. And I
They
am
were.
really glad Kishimoto kept the Akatsuki in the dark for early Naruto. Do you think that the Akatsuki should have been shown more in early Naruto?
No, not at all. I think they were shown
No.
just perfect because you felt like one of them could solo the whole village. Like they had all this hype behind them. So
Yeah.
all the secrets made it so much like you know that they're coming, but you don't know when. They're not showing up. It drew me into Naruto. Katsuki are my favorite part of it,
Yeah, same.
and they show a lot of Orochimaru. And all technicalities, he was a Katsuki member, and he still has a ring.
Oh.
He stole the ring. So I mean, Orochimaru was weaker than Itachi, who was one of the first Katsuki we actually see.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So we get introduced to an ex-member who we're perceived as weaker. So it just hyped the whole thing a lot more. And Zabuza, I mean, not Zabuza, but Orochimaru, his roles were epic. Like, he defeated one of the Hokages, he clashed with two people his level, and without his arms, in a 1v2. He pulled out a lot of shit that was just straight up impressive. I mean, he nearly killed Sasuke just by looking at him.
Yeah.
But back onto the Land of Waves,
Yeah.
I'm going to try to keep most discussion back to Land of Waves in the beginning, because I want to save topics to talk about when I get to other parts.
All right.
So what do you think about the Demon Brothers? They were like hyped up tunings. They took it out like nothing by Sasuke.
Fodder, maybe.
They were fodderized. They're straight up fodderized by Sasuke alone. Yet they're hyped up to be these bloodthirsty tunings, to be pretty powerful. Like they weren't supposed to be elites, but they're supposed to be stronger than the average ninja. They're hyped up, and Sasuke just wrecked their shit.
Mm.
Remember when they ambushed?
Sasuke had to be uh, overpowered, in the beginning. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just me.
Well, they ambushed the group and they hit Kakashi in the head with the shuriken, but it was Kakashi's clone. And then they cut Naruto and poisoned him. That's when Naruto had stabbed his hand. Do you remember that scene?
I do.
So yeah, like this two brothers with those big old giant things in their arms, they were cauterized really quickly. They're Zabuza's best men. Besides Haku, his right hand, obviously.
Which character do you think had had a big impact on Naruto, Zabuza or Haku?
Well, I feel like both of them had a big impact.
They
Haku
do.
kind of brought the source to why Zabuza had a big impact, but Zabuza hit me harder when he started crying.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I guess I have to say both of them.
Yeah, they
What?
both played a crucial role there. You didn't see Emily?
Yeah.
Just yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they both taught Naruto a lot of stuff. Haku sort of inspired Naruto in a friendly way, I guess I can say. And Zabuza taught him to just go stronger, no, not harsher, he just taught him something.
Zabuza actually inspired Naruto's motto,
Don't give up.
never turn your back.
Or wasn't it
Ninja way.
to become stronger you have to protect something so precious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It became a big part of Naruto's ninja way. Yeah, Haku actually, that's a good point that Troy Oliver brings up, that Haku taught Naruto how it feels for a friend to die. Even though
I,
Sasuke didn't die, he believed he was dead.
I agree with Troy Oliver.
Welcome, Goku of Light.
Welcome. Or I mean, greetings.
Goku, we were debating who do you think had a big impact on Naruto, Haku or Zabuza?
I'm gonna say more of Haku, because I feel like he had more of, like, I would say, an impact on the main character, Naruto himself, as far as going. Because that's the one with the ice mirrors, correct? Is that who that is, or no?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay.
Crystal Ice Mirrors.
I didn't come prepared for the random character questions. I came for like Uchihas and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I feel like he had more of an impact just for the fact that, one, we get flashbacks of him multiple times through the series. Two, like, he was the one that really, like, pushed that bond between Sasuke and Naruto. Like, that was the moment when he was gonna basically try to kill him, and we seen Sasuke jump in front of him and take that hit for him. That was really his moment, saying, showing that he believed in him to actually take the fight into his hands. So I think that was a key moment. And with Zabuza, he was really cool, and I really enjoyed his sword. And I forget what they were called, but like the Seven Swordsmen or whatever he was part of.
Seven Swordsmen in the Mist.
Yeah, I remember him. He had like the legendary sword, and he belonged to like a legendary sword group. So that was pretty cool. I really enjoyed his lore, but I don't really feel like he was that impactful of a character. I feel like we've seen a lot of similar characters in shows before, um, opposed to Haku, who was, I feel like, somewhat unique because he was like that character that looked like a girl but wasn't a girl, and at the same time, like, I thought he had a really cool mask, and I just enjoyed the character overall. Like, he's for sure somebody I remembered. Um, Even when you said the name, I kind of remembered him right away. So
Yeah, I
Haku
definitely.
taught Naruto how it is to be gay.
what was that?
So how Naruto thought Haku was more attractive than Sakura.
I mean, that's
Mhm.
not that doesn't have to be an insult to Sakura, of just more of a compliment to Haku. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a pretty dude. I mean, I would like to think that there's a lot of pretty dudes. If you put some long hair on them, some people might be confused.
Mhm.
I personally don't discriminate. I like you all the same. All right. I need to find a link to this chat. Hold on 1 second.
So we're here for the Uchiha. What do you feel about Uchiha Sasuke's first kiss?
All right. So I came in here. Hold on. Oh, I'll get to that. But one thing I want to say is that one of the main things I wanted to say is Sasuke should be Hokage. Yes.
Oh yes,
Why?
yes, I agree with you totally on that.
That was one of the main statements I wanted to say. Is just like if my internet cuts off and I don't get to say nothing else, I said that. I put that on the record that Sasuke should have been Hokage.
The Hokage.
Yeah.
No, I really like but dislike Sasuke at the same time. I don't know how I feel about that topic.
I mean, okay. So let's just start with the kiss. So with the kiss, I thought it was great because it brought the comedy of something like Dragon Ball, like that original series. For me, the opening series before Shippuden was really cool because we got the tuning exams and we got like these different exams that really just test them in various ways. And while the last part of it is a lot of filler, it is funny. I enjoyed it. Me personally, I like to take a step away from all the canon all the time because canon is enjoyable. Don't get me wrong, canon is enjoyable, and that's the reason that a lot of people watch or read a lot of the content. But
Hold up for a second.
good.
AnimeFanTalk, you're echoing what Goku's saying.
I'm sorry, my bad.
He's just so into. He's hanging on every word that he. It's duplicating. All right. So hold on 1 second. All right. We good?
Is it good? Is it better or am I echoing?
No, we're good. I think we're good, right?
Yeah. Or,
Okay. So yeah, just going into it, real humorous. I really enjoyed the humorous moments, and for me, it was just funny in general. I guess I don't think there's too much else to say about it. I don't know if you had like some other comments, like if you wanted to feel like it was I don't know. What did you feel about the kiss?
to me, the kiss brought in quite a bit of comedy. Like, I really enjoy, like, I was talking about this earlier. I enjoyed, like, how Naruto, when Sasuke went down, pecked Naruto from Haku, like, even Naruto's, like, Sasuke, the kiss was on the first scene that popped up. And it brought some comedy to such a sad scene.
No, yeah, for sure. So going into the Uchihas. So you were saying you're not much of a Sasuke fan.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Why is that?
I do like, I think he's a badass. I do enjoy a lot of his character, just sometimes I feel like he's a bit of a dumbass and very judgmental.
He's judgmental.
Harsh words.
I mean, like, he's quick to judgment, is what I meant by that. Lets anger take over.
So you think he's hot-headed,
Yeah,
more or
sure.
less? Hmm. Okay. And so why? Let me ask you this: do you think that he would make a better or worse Hokage than Naruto? Or yeah.
From the end series, when Gaiden starts, actually, from what I can see, there wouldn't be a big difference. I haven't seen much of his character, so I can't. Because by the time they're Hokage, I can't really decide. I haven't seen enough of them.
Wait. You said you don't. You said Sasuke. We haven't seen enough of Sasuke.
In Gaiden, Naruto Gaiden, when they're Hokage level, when Naruto's Hokage, I haven't seen
Just
enough of
going off of like the actual characters. I'm saying like you feel like they're about equal.
Yeah, from overall, like Naruto has, I think Naruto has more kind of forgiving, but I don't know if too forgiving could be bad for Hokage. So I don't know if that's right enough. Sasuke would take the appropriate measures, but sometimes he would go to extremes. So they're both bad in certain areas.
For sure.
I think Sasuke's too harsh and Naruto's too forgiving. I think they'd be better working together.
Got you. So okay, getting to I'm just asking questions. I haven't done one of these discussions before. Um, what what do you think about the ending? Do you really feel that like it ended appropriately? Like is that
Our
how you wanted it
discussion
to?
on the
Huh?
Our session's on the early Naruto to Land of Waves.
To Land of Waves?
Yeah, the Zabza and all that.
Dang.
Up to the Uzumaki Bridge completion.
All right.
And we will do questions about
Just
other
we're
parts,
just
but we're
just lost
focused
anime fan
there.
talk.
Yeah, he popped up earlier, so he might be back again. I'm not sure.
For sure. Well, I guess feel free to ask whatever questions you want.
Well, he said he'd be here for about roughly 40 minutes, so I'm not sure if he'd be back. Aside from that, we did discuss this earlier about the Akatsuki. Did you like how they stayed more of a mystery? Kind of early Naruto, we barely saw them at all, and those, they kind of just like emphasized how much of a threat they were. We saw little hints of them rather
Um,
than letting them come in
I
early
think
Naruto.
I think prior it came off really cool. Just when the first time I watched it, I think I enjoyed it that way. But actually, like finishing the series, I feel like it really would have been better off if they introduced them a bit more because once we get into Shippuden, it just kind of gets rushed right through them. We don't really get
Yeah,
like enough detail or backstory on a lot of the characters. I feel like it's just like
I
we get
just
one
like how they
episode,
were
half episode, and so like I feel like the show itself, like as a whole, felt incomplete. And so I feel like the first series could have been a better foundation setter, and Shippuden could have tied everything together better. Um,
And for me, the first part of it, I give it like an 8 out of 10. Like it was really good for me. Shipping itself, I feel like it did lack and rushed. It didn't really tie things together as well as it should have. I give it more of a 6 out of 10. I mean, I like it. It's just not something I would say is amazing. It was like a good, okay series. From first Naruto, I love. Second Shipping part, I don't know, kind of mixed feelings because I did enjoy every part of the Koskis. I felt it was rushed.
I really don't enjoy the first series too much, other than the stuff with Orochimaru.
Orochimaru,
And
yeah, Orochimaru became
yeah,
my favorite character due to his actions in the Chunin exam.
yeah, in the first series, he was probably like the most intriguing, but other than that, honestly, I didn't really enjoy it too much, just because of all
Well, he
of
was
the
rushed by in Shippuden too, so they gave him like not much credit because when they showed him, they just rushed him by. It was more of kind of Sasuke, not nothing about him.
yeah. Well, no, yeah, for sure. And like while I did enjoy a lot of the comedy in the first one, it did get to a point where it was tedious. There was just way too much of it towards the end. Like it was like I think like 100 or 200 episodes of filler, or something like that. So that
Oh
was
yeah,
like a
for the
ridiculous
force, yeah,
amount. Um, and then going into Shippuden,
that was for
um, for me, the pacing wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible. It what really affected it for me was more of just like the conflict of series. So this is what really, just branching off just a little bit since we're talking about the first series, really bothered me is because like everything that we established in the first series was that like basically Sasuke was like the naturally gifted one, and Naruto was like the hardworking one, and that's kind of how it was. Like the whole thing he proved to Neji about like you didn't have to work your destiny and you could hard work and all this other stuff. And then going into the second series, he became more of a character of destiny, and he was the child of destiny and prophecy and all this other stuff. You know, I didn't like how they flip flopped his character back and forth, and then on top of that, I felt like it was just like plot hole convenience to make him as strong as Sasuke. I felt like Sasuke should have always been stronger. Like, and the fact that they made them equal in strength towards the end, I really didn't agree with at all. Um, and I really feel like if they were gonna go that route, they should have gave Sasuke a tailed beast and let him just be OP. I mean, we've seen other Uchihas with tailed beasts, so why couldn't he have one? And yeah, I really didn't like how the ending was written. For me overall, the series is like probably just a 7 out of 10. And if it wasn't for the ending, it would have been like a 9 out of 10. Like I really loved the series all the way until like the last like 30, 40 episodes or like last like 60, 70 chapters. Um, it gets to just be like sloppy as could be. And in the opening series, like what I really liked so much was the way they established like everybody's role on Team Seven. You know, like he was the hardworking one that always like kept everything going, and then Sasuke was the talented one, and then Sakura was just kind of there, but she was cool. I like pink hair, and it was cool. I dug it, but then they just messed up that dynamic. And especially, you know, one thing that was just for me was just crucial was like when you had Kakashi die and then you bring him back. It's just like okay, like it took such a significant death and then reversed it. So things like that. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Really, the only thing about Pain that stood out was the dry death. Everything else was reversed.
You know, and that's really was what hurt me because like Nagato or Pain Yahiko or whatever, like they were some of my favorite characters. I really like how they built their backstory. It was so tragic and everything with Jiraiya and stuff like that. And like so many of those deaths they actually did were so epic, like so fucking epic. Like he took everybody out. Like if he would have had to reassemble the village with just those scraps of people there, it would have been so much more epic of a story for me by far. And it would have made so much more sense for Sasuke to have to come back and help him rebuild the village. Like, oh man, it would have been too
I would
much.
have, I would agree like that much more. But the only thing I didn't agree with what you said was how they're equal at the end. To me, from the very start, I knew they were going to be equal at the end. I kind of felt like it was a forgiving kind of thing. Like you knew it was coming.
I mean, I don't know. Like even though you could foresee it, I didn't feel like it should be that way. No way in the story that it's written, just like it should apply that way. I feel like it's just through plot convenience towards the end, because like, okay,
Well, yeah, I
but
agree with the plot here because in the power levels didn't make much sense. They just flopped everywhere.
yeah, because look at this. This was the thing. They made a big deal of how like you couldn't get like this like eternal Mengeku like unless you took the eyes of your most loved one, and they made a big deal of talking about how Itachi was a prodigy and his eyes were like the strongest eyes and all this other stuff. So if Sasuke took Itachi's eyes, he should be on a whole nother tier, like whole nother tier, like I don't know, because and by theory, like by a lot of the stuff that was like said, like from like the I can't remember the writer's name right now, but by the writer, like Itachi would have probably been way stronger than Madara and a lot of the other characters if he had that intent to be stronger. He had no quest for power. He was traumatized as a child. He was a pacifist. So I mean, I feel like Itachi was the strongest character in the series, and I feel like by him giving his eyes to Sasuke, Sasuke should have been the strongest. So I don't know.
Yeah, it should have been more like that. But Anime Fan Talk's back.
I
Or
can
it should be back.
I somewhat agree with you, Goku of Light, but to add on, my own thoughts of what I really dislike about Naruto and the Naruto Shippuden was the fact that we didn't see the Akatsuki expand on their story, like the backstory and what they've been through. Because I remember this one little scene where Itachi was fighting the Four Tails, and we didn't get to see the full fight. We just saw the ending, which was really bullshit. Like like what you said.
Yeah.
Itachi's powerful, but this is what I really dislike is that we didn't see all of their fights because I'm pretty sure it was stated that Itachi got half of the tail beast, and then Deidara, and then in the end it was Pain and Obito. So
One thing talking about stuff that's like skipped that I really disliked was so they described that we have like this big Fire Nation. We got the Fire Nation. We got the Fire Nation going on and all that, and we get introduced to these samurais and these different things, these concepts that obviously there's more people in this world. It's not just the shinobis, and this is real evident when we see in a Ninja, I think Gaiden or Gaiden, however you say it, that we see like these skyscrapers and all these different buildings building up. There's obviously a lot more people out there. So that being said, why is the Fire Nation the only people protecting like the ninja world or the planet when this big giant galactic fight is going on, kind of thing? And like I just felt like there should have been more nations. Like while we did get like the variations of the different villages, they all belong to the Fire Nation. So why isn't there like a Water Nation and like a Earth Nation and like all these different nations that would have their own different villages? You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I
I
know.
feel like
I
should
agree
have
with
been
you.
a lot more expanded on their universe, kind of thing. I feel like the universe is like missing in that gaps. Like it's just like we're basically like it would be like if we did the whole entire story of One Piece in Alabasta. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And then
I
but
know.
we knew all this other stuff existed out there, but we never seen it. That's what I feel like.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Um, so who's not
Yeah,
talking here?
I mean, even with the other buildings,
Yeah. Good.
don't
Ax-
get a lot.
You were cutting out right there. I didn't hear you, Axel. Righty then. Can you hear me, Anime Fan Talk? Yes.
Yeah, I hear you.
Can you hear him talking or? No?
No, I don't hear anything.
Emily, are you there? Can you talk?
Yeah, I'm here.
Why don't you give some 2 cents? You're just listening over there. You're a good listener.
Yeah. I don't have much to say.
Oh, okay. My bad. All right.
Yeah, it's okay.
So, well, if nobody else has talked, then I'm just going to talk about Uchihas. So,
That's
Oh,
fine.
Goku,
what's up?
do you think the Uchiha clan will be how do I say it, inflame or restart? Because I think Sasuke is the only Uchiha left, but now that there is no threat, he can restart the Uchiha clan. Do you think that might happen?
So what I would love to see, what I would love to see, is just
Yeah.
Sasuke have like 3 wives and just a couple kids. Like, but we're probably not going to see that because this is a shonen. So, um, what we'll probably have to settle for is a couple daughters with Sakura, or even a son. He needs a son. Okay, that's evident. What's her name? Sakura is pretty badass. You know, she's dope. She's probably everybody's favorite character of this new series. I personally like Naruto, just because like I always didn't like Naruto. Like the character himself, I always felt like he was too goofy. He was this combination of Natsu and Goku. Like I didn't
Yeah.
feel it. I never clicked with him. I never clicked. You know, there was never that click. But then when I see his son and Sasuke's his teacher, he's just so badass. Like he has the same abilities. He's not goofy, and then he's doing like fucking Sasuke's moves on top of that. I can't remember. He's got Chidori. Like he's running around with Chidori and stuff like that. It's like, oh my god, this kid. So he's awesome. And then his clothes, his whole design, everything is like red and black. His whole character design is way better. You know, I get that they have to do the whole orange and blue thing for Shonen Jump, but it was just like overdone with this big old orange jumpsuit. Um, I think if he would have had like blue and then maybe a little bit of orange or something, it could have been better. I don't know. Um, but anyways, going into it, I think that so I always thought that this is what I thought Dragon Ball Z should have did, and this is what I think this series needs to do. So in Dragon Ball Z, I always felt the best case scenario would have been if we got like I don't know, like 100, 200 year time skip, and then all of a sudden we seen like Goku's great grandchild fighting like Vegeta's great grandchild, like at a world tournament or something. That's how I always thought that like the new Dragon Ball Z series should start, or Dragon Ball Super. That's how I thought it would have been like amazing to start from that timeline, because by that point you would have so many different strong figures and new things you can introduce. Um,
Yes, I agree with you.
yeah, with this current one they're doing, it's gonna like that's why they have to go to Universe 6 because we already know everything in Universe 7. We already know who the strongest beings were. So now we have to go to some alternate universe and make up stuff. You know, so that's where I feel like stuff like that has problems. Now with this series, I feel like we could get something similar. Like obviously, it's really hard to explain completely how we're gonna get the Uchiha's bloodline to continue forward. So what we need is maybe just like Sasuke to have like 2, 3 kids. Like he has Sadara, so he needs to have like a son and maybe another daughter or another son, and then have
I'll
them
get
kind of
there.
have them start branching out, and then
Yeah.
skip maybe like 80 to 100 years. You know what I mean? And then be sitting here looking at like somebody that's like they named him Itachi after his great grandfather or something like that. You know what I mean? Just some shit like that. Just like somebody's renamed in Itachi's memory or some like rename one of the characters instead of like actually just trying to like make a pun on his name. Just reuse his name. You know what I mean? Like they did with Gohan. Like how they had Grandpa Gohan and then Goku named his son Gohan. Like they need to do something like that. Like Sasuke should name his son Itachi. You know what I mean? That'd be badass. Like
Yeah,
through the
that will.
roof. So I think little things like that need to be in there. They need to do the obvious things that fans want instead of trying to just think outside the box so much. Like
But but
give us a baby
but let me,
Itachi. Like
like you said, the Uchiha brand or the Uchiha clan needs to branch out. In the new Naruto Gaiden, I really hate how the fact that there's an Uchiha enemy, which really disappoints me because the Uchihas aren't really like that. But to see this new enemy,
Well,
uh,
that's another thing. Just to comment on that you're saying. So they've really shown like they keep trying to do this thing where like the Uchihas are the bad guys. Like even how the Senju were like trying to persecute them and stuff like that. But it was like
yeah,
evidently shown that they're not the bad guys. They're the most emotional ones. So like in a perspective, if you guys weren't doing all this fucked up shit to them, like it would work out. Like that's why I always thought the Sasuke should be the Hokage because in a sense you're sparking more future wars or animosity by telling him he can't be the Hokage in my opinion. And not to say that he should just be it just by default, but even the first Hokage had gave him his vote. Like the first Hokage was saying like this could be what changes the era. This could be the kid that changes everything. He didn't say that we should pick another Senju. He said we should pick an Uchiha. You know, so like stuff like that is just like overlooked completely.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
so yeah,
Hey, sorry about that. My internet really shit on me.
that's all good.
Okay, but the new enemy is actually not Uchiha. He's just Kiki Genkai allows him to bind DNA and just stole Uchiha eyes. It's not Uchiha himself.
For sure. No, yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, but I'm just saying in a general sense for the fact that like we see that like Sasuke doesn't like really spend time with his daughter, and I mean obviously we got a lot of other stuff going on, and it's just I feel like they always just try to give them almost like this negative vibe, like
Yeah.
like even Vegeta spends time with Bulma and Trunks, like always trying to put the Uchihas in the wrong light. That's all.
Well,
Like
I mean, it's the plot with Sarada. I mean, I'm sure that. I mean, I know it looks bad, but I'm sure they're gonna clear it up.
like for me, that's why I always dislike the second Hokage the most. Out of like majority of the characters because he was like so strong on the persecution against the Uchihas. Like he was the one like that was mainly responsible
Well,
for it going down the way he did.
the second
Yeah,
was hateful. He had a lot of hate
Like if they would have
from
found a way to
Uchiha
like
and his
make
brothers.
it work with like Madara to begin with, like it would have been better off because if the first Hokage or Hiroshima was already stronger than him, then if he got out of control, he could have just defeated him anyways. So what threat would there have been in letting him have a political position? Like I don't know. Obviously a lot of it's for like plot convenience, but there's just a lot of Uchiha discrimination. Let's see.
Alright, so
see?
the only Uchiha we really
Right.
get in Atlanta Waves is Sasuke. Aside from that, we get, introduced technically to Obito through Kakashi. Although we don't know it's Obito yet. How do you feel about the lore between the eyes?
between Kakashi and them.
Yeah, Kakashi's eye to the Uchiha clan. How do you feel back when you just knew about the Land of Waves? Like, when you didn't know the
Um,
truth? How do you feel after you know the truth?
so prior to that, I felt like he was like a disgraced Uchiha. Like I felt like he was I thought he was one, and that like he did something to lose his other eye, kind of thing. That's what I originally had thought. Or that he had like overused it and like lost the ability in one eye, like something along those lines. When I had found out actually that what it really was, like I really didn't like Kakashi to be honest. And this is where I'm gonna come out, and this is where a lot of people are probably gonna not like me. So hopefully my viewers aren't watching. But I like Obito. Yes, I like Obito. And, when I seen how Kakashi killed Rin, I couldn't believe it. I was just on Obito's side. I was hoping that he would have just attacked everybody right there. The fact that he spared Kakashi bothered me. I would have liked to see a little scrimmage between the two right there. Obviously, he didn't have to kill him right there for plot convenience, but it would have been cool to see them fight. Um, and I like Obito, his whole like rampage and all that. I don't dislike Kakashi completely,
Yeah,
but
I like
I
Obito also.
yeah
I
yeah
like him also.
Yeah, he's pretty. I think
But to add
he
on,
gets a lot of negative vibe.
to add what you're saying, I think I think there could have been another way avoiding Rin's death.
Yeah.
But that's just me. That's
Yeah.
just my opinion.
Well, no, yeah, and then I mean, just leading up to things. So this is my thoughts on Kakashi when I find out more about the character. Like he really kind of just like wasn't trying to be cool with Obito. He wasn't really trying to be his friend or anything like that, you know? Like he was like the cool kid of the group. And like
Yeah.
you know, it was like one of those things that it was like I always thought it was it was weird how um he always tried to be so cool with Sasuke, you know, and to me that kind of like was a testament to like he knew that he was a piece of shit as a kid. Like he was if he would have been a better friend to Obito, Obito probably wouldn't have went down that road. And Obito out of everybody would have been the best Hokage by far. Like he had the best qualities to be a Hokage. He was an Uchiha and he had a big heart like Naruto. You know, he had it. He had the qualities and like even the fourth and everybody like that like reminisced about him, you know, like seeing him in that light. And he had that it factor and he was the only one of the Uchihas that they seen like that. All the other Uchihas were pictured in this negative light and they had always been drawn to be these like bad characters, but he's the only one in the story that they draw to have a big heart, so of course he falls to like this like darkness. So
So how do you think the story would have gone if Obito did become the Hokage? Obito was the fourth or fifth.
um so I think that if he's the fifth, obviously we need a different villain. Um so I think if he's the fifth, it really changes the perspective of who our villain is because he was the one as Toby that really built the Akutsuki and everything else. So and he's the one that's really enacted Madara's plan. So Madara would still exist, but we would have a different pawn, you know, to an extent. Um, so from there, it really comes into a question of who do we think that he would recruit as his pawn because that really creates an opposite dimension of who Obito would go up against and how would he react and could he beat them. Um, and and on top of that, I feel like if one thing that I'm not sure about is how the whole Jinchuriki thing works with like the Nine Tails like so because I know that they started giving them to each village. Do they always place them in an infant baby, or can they go into somebody that's older, or how does that work? Because didn't B get his when he was already older, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it don't matter. It don't matter age.
Age doesn't matter, right? They just have to be a proper vessel. Okay.
Okay.
So that being said, you're echoing a little bit, Axel. But that being said, I would think that means that Obito would be qualified to have the Nine Tails if he didn't die right there, right? So I mean, we could possibly have Obito as the Nine Tails Hokage, and if that's true, that could make them by default like uncontested village. But I think that's something we don't. I think that changes the dynamic of how strong the Leaf Village is. I think they're a lot stronger.
Well, Leaf Village is the first village, and it does come off as the strongest. Like, a lot of time, they will like put Kakashi above any other ninja from any other village.
Well, like so, prior to that, I can't. I think they're the Cloud Village. I want to say, with the Raikage. I got the vibe that they were like the strongest village when we don't include all the tailed beasts and like strong. I would say overly strong characters because I mean taken out if you don't include the tailed beast, B without his tailed beast versus Kakashi, I think they're about equal on strength, and I think the Raikage is way stronger than Tsunade. So I mean, at that point, I think that they could beat the Leaf Village if we're not including the tailed beast.
Yeah, and the diary or something like that, like Black
Yeah,
King's the blonde hair. He was
yeah,
he was an elite Jonin level too. He probably beat majority of them.
exactly. Like they had a lot more elites, like top level, like players. Like we really didn't get to explore their village that much, and that's what I'm saying. Like we got so much of the Leaf Village, but then we didn't get these other characters. Like we even had some of these other characters marry into the Leaf Village. Like we couldn't see a few of the villages marry somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like we could have seen someone like obviously we wouldn't see him, but someone like Shikamaru go marry somebody in the Sand Village. You know, since they got married anyways, why don't they go live in the Sand Village? Why do they have to live in the Leaf
Well,
Village?
I mean,
Like little
Shikamaru makes sense because
no, he makes sense because he helped to help the Kage, but I'm just saying, like in
he
general,
takes over
it could have been any of
after
them.
that's head of the intelligence. He runs all that. But like Kiba or Shino, another badass. I would love to see them somewhere else.
Yeah. So, what else you want to talk about? Are we done or what's going on?
More topics back in the beginning because a lot of it's not in the beginning, and that's kind of what the stream's about.
No, I know.
So,
Well, you got to
alright, so
talk.
I'm gonna ask you, how did you feel about Naruto at the very beginning when he was a total failure, and how he took the scroll and learned the Shakuin Jutsu?
Um, I mean, for me, the beginning part of the story was just to me a lot of his obnoxious like antics. I didn't really like the character in the very beginning. Um, I really didn't even like him to the second series when he matured a bit. Through the first series, I didn't like him at all. Uh, I liked Neji better than him. I wish Neji would have kicked his ass. Um, Sasuke obviously like a lot more superior. So for me, he was that main character that I had to watch that I didn't really want to watch. That's the best
I
way.
personally liked him, but I didn't like all of his shenanigans. But I did like how he would like how he would approach a certain situation. Like he
It's
would
like
just,
it's like a fairy tale thing for me. Like I watch fairy tale for Lucy. I don't watch it for Natsu.
I kind of liked Natsu when I first started, but I don't like him no more. I can get into his fights, it's just I don't
Well,
really
the
care
only
for the
reason
character.
I like Lucy more than anything, and I mean, obviously, she has good fan service, but that's not the right reason. It's because she has character development. Like from the beginning of the series, when we first meet her, she's like this like ditzy girl that's like almost like a fan of fairy tale. Like she's just like, oh my god, fairy tale. So like the point where we're at now, and she's like a full-on member, and she's actively strong, and she has her own spells, and she
Yeah,
gets her own
she's
story arcs and everything else.
technically one of the least now.
Yeah. So, I mean, as far as characters go, I feel like she's gotten the most development. While we've gotten a lot of progress with Natsu's story and his background and everything else, that's different from development. Like, same could be said like if we're comparing Goku and Vegeta. Goku doesn't really develop that much through the course of the series. He gets stronger, yes, and
He develops just a teeny bit, and Vegeta changes like completely.
yeah, Vegeta's demeanor and everything. He learns. He has speeches. He breaks down all this other stuff. Like,
I
see
just
with like,
like Natsu's development because, yeah, like you said, Vegeta gets all these speeches and stuff. Natsu went on took Gilzart's teaching and turned it into what the opposite he was saying. Like, what the fuck? He
yeah,
just turned to his own, what he's been doing the whole time, but he was taught something else. I really
he,
dislike that.
he's just reverting back to what he wants to do, and like, it's just for me, the character himself, like, he doesn't have to struggle. He doesn't really develop that much. He just one shots a lot of things, and he's just persistently chasing the same thing, and it's not as exciting. Um, I mean, like to me, he's like not even in like my top five of characters on that show that I like. Like,
I liked him at first, like I said,
yeah, yeah. In
but
the
when he
beginning,
started,
I did too. Like up to
yeah,
the
but when he
up to the
stopped, like
point
he did no training.
when they went to the arc where they I can't remember the name right now, but where they had like the opposites of them. When they went to that arc, that's when I stopped liking them.
Yeah, I think that arc was the last arc I would consider good due to development reasons.
It was good for the
But
story,
like,
but I just at that point that's when I stopped liking Natsu was during that arc. He just
yeah,
tedious and it.
so,
Yeah.
I mean,
The
he
only
was
thing
just
I
the
like
same
about him
thing.
is the thing he gets sick from the mobility. I always thought that was kind of cool. I always thought that was funny because I get car sick real easy, so I always liked that about him. But that was about it.
and some of the speeches stand out, but majority of them were just repeats and repeats, where you're just repeating, "I have a friend." Like like for the Hades situation, he was fighting with his friends the entire time, but he randomly gets a power boost because he acknowledges that they're his friend. Like, how does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like
Like, oh,
it's
but
like
they're my
so
friends, so I can
so
fight
did
again.
you they weren't your friends before? Like he just yeah, he just kind of forgets on it. It's kind of it's real repetitive in that sense. Um,
Yeah.
it sucks too because it's a really good concept, and the show itself is it's like it's always built up really well. Like its hype and everything is done really well, and then it's just real disappointing overall with like the fight scenes, I think.
I'll be honest, I do like the friendship concept. I just don't like the way they go about it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think if it was
Well, at
if it,
least, Naruto, you get some training. At least you get training in there.
well,
Not
since it's
to, I
magic, if
mean,
the
even
friendship
if you,
thing was more like of a Zelda concept where it was like they equal different parts of like some element or something like that, that would be cool, if it
yeah,
was like there was a reason why the friendship connected and it was all like a full like spectrum to the universe kind of thing. But like the whole just like let's hold hands and be strong thing, like no.
yeah. The thing, Natsu, I mean, they don't even skip his training. He just don't train, period. It's always handed to him. I just like that. At least Naruto, I mean, he's handed stuff like the Nightfall Fox and stuff like that. Just mastering and sitting gave him all that power. Just hand it to him. But at least he did training for it. And I enjoy, watching character development that way.
Got you. Um, is another thing is during the Land of Waves is where they show some nudity.
They did? I don't remember
No, they
that.
did. Yeah, you see naked Sasuke running with us, Itachi trying to chase him with a towel. How did you feel
Uh,
about that?
that's cool.
Uh,
Oh, well,
that's
that's part of this
that's
little
that's one of the
flashback thing.
hallmark Uchiha moments.
Should frame that moment.
I'll send it to
Every
you.
time you do a video on Naruto, you need to have that moment framed behind you.
I'll do it. I'm just gonna put it on my wall. So hold on. Let's see. So Land of Waves ends right when they get on the boat, I guess, that around that area, or when they're done helping the guy on the boat, or how does that happen? When does it end?
It ends right after the bridge is named, and they get the boat to head back. Like right after they visit the graves to get on the boat. That's the ending.
Gotcha. So, I guess for me, the most exciting part was like the introduction of the swordsman. The fact that I knew that there was going to be this other legendary swordsman out there, even though it never really came to fruition of being anything important.
Well,
At that
Kasami
point,
did.
yeah, but it wasn't like they didn't like have an impact on the final fight or like anything like that. Or
Well, the thing
no,
about them is Zabuza was the only one of the first generation still alive.
yeah.
Kasami's the second generation. The rest are on third and fourth. Like they were died a few times. They're like way down there.
See, we didn't see like new heirs to these swords though or anything like that. Like we didn't see like these new badass people show up into the story. That's what I'm
Well,
saying. Like
Sugetsu.
there was so much like potential. Like for example, we got the introduction of these samurais, right? Like why couldn't we see one of these samurais have one of these legendary swords? Like how badass would they have been?
So that would have been epic, and it would have been really cool to watch. Maybe Kabuto go hunt down and fight one of the swordsmen. It's still their swords to bring back the first
Yeah,
generation.
especially because like of all the like random filler episodes that we did, like the repeats of like the exams and like all the other shit that went on, like we could have really did with some stuff like
Yeah.
that because that would have been the stuff people wouldn't complain about. Like I'm pretty sure you know the difference between filler and non-canon, and like non-canon is not that big of a deal. Filler's the problem. So it's like
There's only two filler arcs in all of Naruto that actually they're okay. I don't really like them,
see, there shouldn't be an
and that's
arc of filler though. That's the problem.
like the arc was. It made no sense because they introduced a new kid who had some Mental Fox chakra. I didn't like that, but I did enjoy how the arc expanded on Asuma's lore with the other 12 guardians,
Yeah.
and they only showed like six of them, but it was still an expansion. I enjoyed the arc primarily for that. I don't care with the filler. It was, I mean, I don't consider it a really good arc or part of the series. It was okay to watch.
Yeah, for sure. I think I think that like I don't know, just like in the first series, one thing we did get was because everybody wasn't like so top tier fighting wise. We've seen a lot more variation of like moves and fighting styles, and just it was more unique in the concept of like how fights were approached because
Oh
not
yeah.
every because just about everybody came from a different background or a different village towards like mid series. And so we would see like a lot of different like matchups, like as far as fighting styles and jutsus go. That was probably one of my favorite things about the early parts of the series. Um, Especially like when we first started to see like the water style jutsu and when he was using like those mirrors and he trapped them in like that cage. There's nothing like that like going into the future. Um, but I think that it's unique in that perspective of like the detail we get in the fights, the
Well,
complexity
the
of
thing
them.
about them is like the whole fights and reasons, like what people bring. That's the reason why I love the Chinny exam so much. Everyone brought something new to the table, introduced a new concept. Like we got people introducing sound, Gar got sand, but you got the puppet introduced, you get the fan introduced, you get bugs introduced, you get the body changing introduced. The Hyuga eyes, we kind of get expansion on what they're about. We get expansion on what Taijutsu can bring to the table with Lee. There's a lot they brought, and I really enjoyed watching all that. Like Shikamaru, we did step up the strategy game with him. I enjoyed the Chinese exam so much due to all these new characters and their abilities.
And on top of that, one thing that I think was pretty cool, in the beginning because I felt like it was a lot more lighthearted. We didn't have so much an attempt at making characters seem like evil. Like it was more of just like a conflict in like philosophy or morals kind of thing. Um,
Yeah,
like
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 Zamza, it
for
was all
yeah,
philosophy. Orochimaru, he had his own philosophy too. But they weren't
like
necessarily evil.
one of the things I remember the most about Zabuza is that he starts crying when Naruto gives one of his little speeches. He
With
starts crying
Naruto,
over.
yeah, Naruto made him realize how much Haku meant to him,
Yeah,
and that part actually hit me hard. We talked about earlier,
yeah.
and that part, it actually drug some feelings in for me. Like I didn't care what the show. That part actually, I felt it. I mean, it wasn't like major, but I mean, I felt something. Like it stood out.
And it was the first time we seen a ninja that like was more advanced than Kakashi. At least that's how I felt about it. Like a lot of the other ones, like it was debatable, but he would. I felt like if he was going one on one with Kakashi right there, he would have wiped him. I feel like he would have took Kakashi to the floor. I
Zabuza
feel
beat Kakashi the first time
yeah,
around.
yeah. They needed Team
Kakashi,
7 to win that
uh,
fight.
bested him. The only reason why Kakashi bested him the second time was he already saw him fight the Sharingan, and he took advantage. But
Yeah.
uh, Zabuza alone was a stronger ninja. He beat him going in on equal rounds.
No, yeah, for sure. And that's why I always felt like Kakashi was like cool, but he wasn't like the same as like the other Uchihas, obviously. Like the other Uchihas, like it seemed like they just all had like that like from except from like Obito really, the majority of them that they show have just like a natural ability or like they're naturally gifted kind of thing. So I
Yeah,
think I
but I actually did enjoy that. I mean, we're all kind of natural gifted, but that was kind of the theme of the Akatsuki, to get all these gifted strong ninja.
yeah.
So, I mean, I really found it really interesting what each one brought to the table. Because, Tachi's all about the genjutsus, Kasame's all about eating your chakra. You know, Sasori is a living puppet. You show 100. People, 2 and
So
3 we said are a lot.
something that I found interesting too is like they explained how the Uzumakis broke off off from the Senju clan. Because they would kind of want to, they were on their own separate thing as far as involving the village. Um, so what I thought was interesting was why wasn't there ever a separate faction of Uchihas that broke off? Like why didn't we ever get another variation of the Uchihas like the Uzumakis? You know what I mean? I always feel
Yeah,
like
I mean,
that was kind of missing.
I know Itachi killed them, but why didn't they do it beforehand? It would have made much more sense, especially with Madara going down. You think there'd be some turmoil within the clan right there,
Well, just
like
just
way
just
back.
well, just in a general sense, like prior to them, when he first wanted to join the village, like I can't see them all wanting to unite the villages. Like there had to have been a few of them that were like, why do we want to pair with them? Like no, there had to have been a few that were just like standoffish against wanting to join the Senju clan. Like I feel like there should have been some like loose end characters that we could have really got. Like if we could have had someone else like somebody like a Uchiha that belonged to another clan show up and like take Sasuke under his wing, that would have been so much more crucial than everything else that went down. I felt like because then he would have had like a whole other
Yeah.
belief or mindset on the Uchihas, right? Instead of being like the character that he is right now, like right now I feel like he's just like a combo character. Like he just has like all these different variations or like attributes. Like he's a little bit like Madara, and he's a little bit like Itachi, and he's a little bit like the old Sasuke, and he's just this combo character now. So it's really hard to put a thumb on exactly the identity of the current character. But I feel like if we would have had like him raised by another branch of Uchihas, he would have been this like real prideful character, and like he could have been just more like I don't know, more spiritual of a kind of character, or more prideful kind of thing, more of like a Vegeta to a degree, but not as like evil. Just more like
The
whole
thing
like
about that was sort of Neji theme in a way.
no, yeah,
Sasuke,
I get that. I think it would have been different in the perspective of that like Neji was like obligated to the point where he was like serving, and like I don't think Sasuke would have seen it as an obligation, but more as like a birthright and like a privilege to be like the pride of the Uchiha. Like he could have had like all these like elders and older people telling him like, oh, you're so great, like just basically worshiping him and building up his ego in a sense, like making him into like their king. Like that would have been cool. I would have really enjoyed to see that.
well, the thing about Neji is he outgrew being used, like due to his development. Sasuke, he just got angrier and angrier and angrier in his development.
With Sasuke, they just kept making him angry and angrier through the story, but I really don't feel like that's how it should have went. I just feel like that's how the plot read it, just to make it more like he was this angry character. But in
I
reality,
agree that he should have like, understood Itachi more. He should have a different view of people in general due to Orochimaru. Like he just changed a lot. He didn't. He
well,
just
after
stayed
everything
with
happened
Neji.
with like Itachi, I feel like he should have went on some like quest like around the world, and that's when we should have seen a lot more of these villages or nations that we didn't even know about. Like he could have showed us like the Water Nation and like the Earth Nation, and like all these different places, and he could have went there to really like find his understanding of Itachi. Like that could have been like how he figured it all out, like how he travels the world and he becomes more of like a monk kind of character, and he could have like disappeared for the majority of the series and then came back at the very end like a different person. Like nobody would have ever like it would have been a lot better that way instead of him like
If he grabbed Tachi, he disappeared, came back during the war, because him like working for Obito and going after Killer B was kind of nonsense, in my opinion. I don't think it was kind of out of character in a way for me. I didn't like
yeah,
it.
because it was out of character because one, Sasuke never really listened to anybody, and then two, like he was obviously manipulating him, and Sasuke knew that too. Like he showed that he knew that, so it was like it really didn't make too much sense. And then on top of that, it was a lot of wasted like idle time. Like he spent so much time just at the Akutsuki hangout or doing like errands that Obito sent him on, and he could have been finding that time like finding himself or like becoming like a more relevant character. But
Yeah, and like Karen and Jugo and Sugetsu, they all have these huge missions of their own. They all just follow Sasuke around, run the errands. I mean, Karen kind of makes sense. And Jugo, I can see him being convinced. Sugetsu should have no way to go with that.
for sure, for sure. Well, is there any other questions you wanted to ask me in particular, or anything you want to talk about?
Let's see. Well, it's not really the Land of Waves, but we did discuss this for a few minutes about the Chunin exams, about the matchups. How would you felt if the matchups were different? Like we felt like Sasuke's matchup didn't make sense. Like they just found someone to kill off real quick, and like imagine what happened with Neji when he gets Gaara. Like could Neji's like finger strikes take away the chakra in the sand, make the sand fall?
Well, it also could be said could Gaara's attacks penetrate Neji's defenses?
Yeah, it's a
Um,
battle of defense. They're two biggest defense characters. And imagine Shino and Gara, the sand and the bugs clashing, the bugs eating
well,
the chakra out of the sand.
so I think my belief on that is that Neji was shown to be like more of a prodigy and more of a better more of a I would say what would you call it more of an equivalent fighter at this time in the storyline than Rock Lee. Rock Lee was from the same ninja team as him, and he was shown to be the strongest in that ninja team. So I would like to believe that he is faster than Rock Lee and probably stronger. So
I
I would
think
I would
his hand movements and stuff are faster. I'm not sure of his natural speed.
I don't think on
I, mean,
foot
I
he
know
would be
he's fast,
faster, but I
but
think
like
if
the way
because like say he got in a circumference of Gaara the same way that Rock Lee, because Gaara is not naturally like fast on his feet. He just has this defensive wall, so it wouldn't be hard to assume that Neji could get in close to him to fight him, and then if he began doing his like palm rotation, I think that he could land some hits. Um,
yeah, if you get the close and sand comes in, rotation just rip right through all that. And yeah, I think Neji can move faster and strike faster in the circumference, but Lee can move faster, kind of like overall. But in a certain area, Neji can move faster.
Yeah, like against a mobile opponent, I think Rock Lee would be better. But the fact that Garu is not a mobile opponent, he stands still, moving his stand with his chakra. That if you were to get up close to him, someone like Neji, that's a melee fighter with his hands, would do work on him. Um, yeah, and I think anybody out of that group that would have matched Sasuke would have got dusted.
I don't know. I really want to see Neji and Sasuke. Last year's Genius and this year's Genius. Kind of see what that would end up like.
So I would say like on combat speed, and even possibility of Neji being able to read Sasuke, that it would be a close matchup. But the Sharingan is an evolution of the Hyuga clan, so I would believe that he would have the one up, and then using Chidori and a few other techniques like that, the fireball jutsus and stuff like that, that he could take him. I don't think that
I
Neji
think
has enough
Shidori would.
fireballs.
If he hit a solid hit with Shidori, that would kill him.
Yeah,
The
I
only
don't think they
way.
have enough of an arsenal to fight Sasuke, but I do think it's a good
I
matchup.
think rotation would stop Shidori though.
Yeah, but I
But
don't think he's got nothing for a fireball.
yeah, like it's all like it's just rotation, rotation, rotation.
I think like a good possible matchup would have been more of a variation of the girls, because we've seen what's her name, I think it's Tamari, fight the other girl, what's her name, I don't remember all the
Tintin.
girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we could have seen if we would have seen one of them fight Sakura and then Ino fight the other one, I think that'd have been kind of cool. While the Sakura and Ino fight was
I get
cool, I think it could have came later on in the series. I don't think it needed to happen right there.
how would you like Hinata fighting Tamari or Tintin?
Honestly,
I
that,
think
that would have
Tintin.
been that would have been great, because I didn't like seeing Hinata get beat up on like that, because I thought Hinata was like a really cool character, and she was just really like downplayed for the fact that like Neji was so much stronger. If we would have seen her get a fair matchup, I think we could have really seen like the attributes of the character, and really like she would have got more fans off the start of the series to begin with, and really had a bigger hyper fan base going into everything, and it wouldn't have been like so much surprise. I think a lot of the characters that when everything was Sakura and just the whole love triangle that he's in, if we could have seen Hinata be more of like a bold character and not so shy, like actually see her win some
The
fights,
thing
that
about it
other
though
point.
is Shippuden was actually Hinata was supposed to be main female character in Shippuden, but instead he put Sakura due to popularity and made Hinata the main supporting female.
See, and I feel like that stuff like
I
that
mean,
could would have
I
really
think
changed
because
if
Hinata,
Hinata would have got a better fan base off the start. Like if she would have actually got fights, or like had more relevance. Like if we would have found out like her connection to Sasuke in some way because of the Sharingan or something like that, and like they would have had some kind of history, like if it would have expanded a little bit beyond like the fact of being a triangle, like what if Sasuke would have liked Hinata, but she liked him? Like it just got even more complicated. Like she didn't even want Sasuke, but he wants her, and all this other stuff. Like it would have been, it'd have been like some soap opera stuff.
Imagine if Sasuke actually talked to her just due to her being Hyuga, and he felt like she was closest thing to his family. You
Yeah, or
know,
what if like
so
what
you
if
get
like his
he
mindset?
has to talk to Sasuke. He has to try and get close to Naruto. Sasuke's trying to get away from Naruto, but they're always together. That'd be kind of a
Well, here's the thing.
interesting
Here's the
idea.
thing too. As far as matchups go, they're probably the best matchup for Uchiha to produce for his clan too, like to reproduce since it's an evolution of them. So I think that that would have been a really cool matchup.
What scares me about Naruto's child?
What?
Can you imagine a thousand people running at you with Byakugan striking at you?
Oh man, the Byakugan is really cool. I really like the eye color. Um, I wish it would have had a little bit more design, like something similar to like Uchiha's a little bit more, but just white. That'd have been pretty
Yeah,
cool.
because
But
it's like a whitish purple, and
well,
the
the
only
way it is right
attribute
now,
is
it reminds me
his dress.
of like a blind character, like when they have the characters that are blind in the shows. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, it looks blind. I think that's kind of the point behind it, because you kind of see the surface around them, not
Yeah.
necessarily what's in front of them.
No, yeah. So for example, though, like they said that it was an evolution of the Byakugan, but they never said like what would happen if we seen like Sharingan and Byakugan mixed. Like it could have been cool if they mixed and maybe like it mutated another time, like it evolved a third step. You know what I mean? And we would have had like a new
Yeah,
type of
I would
eye.
actually love to see a third eye. I think that would have been really awesome if you introduced one. Like mix between the two. I mean, I know the Reed
Yeah.
has a third eye, but like a different eye other than them.
No, it would have been cool
Not
because
necessarily.
the Sage of the Sixth Path is more meant to be like something that's just one of a kind or like like a legendary thing. So it shouldn't be like that, but like something else that could just like spread the bloodlines because the whole thing that I got from everything is there's supposed to be these bonds and like collapsing the walls and the Uchihas and the Senjus and everybody coming together and stuff like that, making one village. So it would have made sense to have like the product of that. You know what I mean? Like a child that's the product of that. Um, yeah, even going into the future, like maybe like Satoru and Bruto having a kid, like that would be great.
Yeah, sorta. I think that they will, honestly, because the first chapter you get on them, the last chapter in Naruto, for Gaiden, you get her looking at Naruto the way Hinata looked at Naruto. So I think that's kind of hinting they will be the next couple.
It'd be great. So questions? You got any
I mean,
questions?
aside from that, I mean, that's just kind of a prediction. He's not necessarily known for that much foreshadowing. Because, I mean, look at Ino with Sai, who's Sasuke 2.0. Really just like the couple. I feel like that couple's just a testament on how shallow, it really is.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
Me?
Yeah.
Um. Let's see. Well, let's see. Can you when you're looking at that, which way does it look? Is it right or no?
It's up high a little bit.
Okay. Um. So I think for me, ultimately, there's Water Seven isn't too vast. So I mean, if we're just talking about that, or I said Water Seven. What is it? Not Water Seven. It's
Land of Waves.
Land of Waves. Too much One Piece. Land of
I'm
Waves.
actually getting Water 7 this week.
It's because I have this big whiteboard next to me with all this different One Piece shit on it. Um, so Land of Waves for me, I think the Haku thing is going to be the biggest thing that stands out and the most memorable moment. Um, favorite moment though is probably No, yeah, it probably is that moment. The moment where Sasuke takes the hit for him. Seeing the sacrifice of Sasuke and the development of him actually making an effort to be friends with Naruto is probably my favorite moment of this arc. So
Yeah, a lot of people actually said that. My favorite is actually when Zabuza kind of like snaps and just goes and he kills Gato.
yeah,
One man army was done. Yeah. And I don't know, just like I said, that speech beforehand, the first time I actually felt something. I mean, I know a lot of people got like feelings with Sasuke now. I didn't care for Sasuke all that much because he was still a brand new character to me. Something about the way that Zabuza connected, it just caught my attention. So that moment, is one of my favorite moments today.
no, for sure. Yeah, any moment that I think that like makes you double think it or is like emotional, then it's for sure one of the better moments. Um, I
Yeah,
felt like like one of the biggest things I feel like with the series is like, for example, Jiraiya's death. Like that's gonna be one of those things which is about anybody is memorable, especially because it didn't get plot holed out like most things do. Um, that was pretty cool. For me, that was probably the.
my brother
What?
keeps telling me Dry is still alive.
I mean that would be epic, but I don't think so. I mean, to me the biggest problem with Shippuden, aside from the whole Destiny thing, was the irrelevant deaths. Like, I really disliked the whole Destiny thing, and I really could have got over that if it would have been like a situation where I could have seen them rebuild the village together. I think that would have been the coolest thing for me. Honestly, it would have been like to see like some Mega Force come in and destroy the village, and see them rebuild the village and the nation itself together, and like basically took seats as like co-Hokages, like abolish the old system and start working together like through a partnership. I think that would have been killer. Um,
Well, I mean, as much as I like some of these characters, those kind of things are the reason why I dislike Shipton as much as I do. Like, I like it, I just it's not my favorite because of these things. And like, say, Pain, how they say a lot of them got plot held out? I do think that a lot of people, like Choji's father, should have got his fight with Pain and died and, draw more emotion. I
yeah.
do think that Kakashi should have lived. I think Kakashi's death would have been best for the Ninja War. I would have liked him to die in that war. We need someone big to die in the war. And the only person died in the war was Naruto.
Well, the thing
Went
too
through
is
the
like
whole thing completely.
when we seen like Tsunade torn in half and everything
Yeah,
else, like
but we
that
had
was
Neji's death
epic.
and a few random ones, like Shikamaru's father. They randomly blew up where they're at.
Yeah. Like we had the randoms deaths that was what bothered me. Like we didn't get the deaths that like were like really like impactful in the series. Like if we would have seen the Raikage and the Hokage and all five of them just like taken out like that, like that's so big because we
Imagine
know.
they all died. I would have loved to see them all die.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Like that's so crucial. Like the undoing of things like that really just it makes it where the next death after that is less impactful because after that happens, like shortly after that is when Neji dies, and so like after that it just doesn't really hit the same way. I mean, and at the same time, nobody really seen it coming. Nobody really seen Neji just being like, oh, let me sacrifice you myself, or you can go be with my cousin and all this other shit. It's like
but like I said, Neji, he was random. He was the biggest impactful death in that whole series of the war, and he was
like
random.
I've said this
And
about
you're
most
like, what
shows,
the
and
hell?
my most favorite characters are always the ones that like they stand out because they don't belong, and they're usually the ones that are gonna die. And Neji was one of those. Like Itachi is the main component of that for me. Itachi, Ace in One Piece. You know, just the way it kind of works in like Neji. It's the only reason I feel like Sasuke doesn't die is because like he's a big part of the overall like result of the show. Like if it wasn't for the fact it was about like the friendship and bond between them, I feel like he would have died. Because he was
What's
stronger than
so
the
funny
main
about
character.
that is he's alive just due to the friendship bond. In the original concept of Naruto, he didn't exist. So I
Hmm.
find that really hilarious.
Yeah,
He's a character,
well, that's
I
the
believe.
thing that I always hated is like he's often compared to Vegeta, and there's always the whole thing about he's supposed to be like Vegeta, but Vegeta was never stronger than Goku, and Goku never chased after Vegeta. So like in no way is that relevant to me. And um, Sasuke is not the prince of all Uchihas. Sasuke is the heir of anything, and he's the last living blood of the Uchihas, like in that sense. But then
Yeah,
he
and
progresses
since
his bloodline.
Vegeta's supposed to be like the last one, but you got people like Goku. He's still a Saiyan and stuff. That ruins the dynamic there. And
Yeah,
but like with that, like Sasuke, he never wanted to be friends with Goku. Vegeta's the one who took the second step after Goku gave him the first step. When Goku spared his life, he's the one who took the first step. He made the alliance on Namek. He's the one that asked for help.
see
He's the
that
one who's he took the steps.
that purpose though. That's more of Vegeta trying to get his end goal. Like he wanted to become immortal.
Vegeta trying to get his purpose.
Yeah, like
But he made the steps. And
for me,
Sasuke ran away.
like for example, like when Vegeta died right there, on when Frieza killed him, like that to me was like the level of like Kakashi's death. Like it was that impactful. Like so like when Kakashi got brought back, it was just like because we even had the flashback with his dad. Like if they wouldn't have did his flashback with his dad, I probably wouldn't have felt like that. But when they did the flashback with his dad, and we have this whole thing where he's like basically like, oh, I'm finally here. I did my part, kind of thing. It was like a relieving feeling, kind of thing. And then I hate when they give you like certain like angles or aspirations of the show, and then they take them back. They're like, oh, you could feel this way, but no, never mind. And then
Well, think about that. I hate, like, I mean, I love a lot of animes with these things, but I do hate when they give the ability to bring someone back to life or to reverse time. That always ruins the path full of deaths and stuff like that. Like, it ruins, like, what's going to happen. Like, for example, like, Pain, he just reverted death for everyone. Went back that whole
yeah,
day.
it's like that was beyond OP. Like that was like on a whole another like I don't even know how to explain that because it's like I don't know. It's just like it was beyond like even having like Dragon Balls or anything. Like he just basically was just like okay.
It doesn't make any sense either. I mean, that was the logic. He'd be fighting his allies. Every time an ally went down, he would pop them back up if he wanted to. By that logic.
He should have just had enough. He should have had enough power. He didn't even have to fight any of them. Like he should have just been able to like erase all of them with one move if he was that strong.
I mean, if he was that strong, I have a lot of questions. Like when Sasori died, why wasn't he here to pop them back up? Why wasn't there following the Akatsuki's, popping them up when they died? He has 24 hours to do so. And 24 hours is enough time. Because he was never that far away. He was always in the Rain Village. The Rain Village is on the border of the Leaf Village. He was always within range to get to them. But he never popped them. I mean, he never. So that was just a random ass power he never used before that he could have used in several circumstances.
Well, yeah, it's like if that was the case, he should have been able to like bring a lot of people back from the dead to begin with. It's like they didn't explain like there was like a time limit on it or anything. Like he should have easily been able to bring back Yahiko if that was the case. He should have been able to bring back.
I thought that it was revert only 24 hours, I believe.
Oh, maybe it was. Maybe I was just already over it and forgot. I don't know. But by the time that started happening, I didn't even want to watch it no more. And I mean, the manga. It's not as bad. The manga was all right, but in the anime, it's so much worse. Because in the anime, you always, and for me during the pain arc, it feels like really fast paced, and it's not as done as well as the previous art.
Yeah, that's why I dislike powers like that. I don't think if you're gonna do an anime or manga, you shouldn't include powers like that because it just kind of ruins the threat level at that.
Well, yeah, the whole thing about shonen is like the understanding that basically, we know that the main character 95% of the time is going to defeat the villain in some glorious battle and be the hero, whatever. But it's all about the result of what that means. Like what is the impact of that victory? What does that mean for that world, that universe? What did we learn? What was the connection between the characters and all the groups involved? And so like when we get to the end result of Naruto or Shippuden, and we get to it, the whole connection or final picture is this bond of friendship and overcoming things, and how like one sees one person in one perspective, but another person can always see a person in another perspective. okay, it's like you didn't really need this grand of a battle for that little of a lesson. Like if we were gonna have this big of a battle on like this grand of a scale for the entire world, they should have learned a lot more than like they were secretly bros the whole time. Like uh, that's basically what we got through this entire series is that Sasuke secretly had a man crush on him the whole time, and he had a man crush back. Like, yeah, that's how I felt when I finished the series.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like they could have done more with it, and they just kind of put it
It
together that way. They were just like,
it had
the
that
bros. So,
Yu Yu Hakusho vibe where the ending was just rushed. Like it was just like somebody told them it was time to
the
finish
thing I
the
like about
story.
Yu Yu Hakusho ending is they slowed down for the ending. Naruto didn't slow down; it just kept going.
Yeah,
Yu Yu Hakusho they rushed ending, but that last scene they slowed down for it.
yeah.
You know, that very last.
They gave it the proper send off. Like when I finished the last chapter of this manga, I didn't feel like fulfilled or satisfied. I was just like, really? Like that was more my reaction than anything.
Yeah, the ending, I was like, okay, that's next generation. I didn't feel like it was over. It didn't give me any of. Maybe he meant that way to hype Gaiden. I don't know, but I just liked it.
Everything with what's her name, Kagura, or yeah, I think that's her name, Kagura. Like it just, I didn't feel like she was like foreshadowed properly in any
Yeah,
of that.
I actually enjoyed her because I actually know the actual lore behind her. Like she's a real person in Japanese history. I really disliked the way they foreshadowed
One,
her. It was
one,
just kind of
I
random
got, I got,
stuff.
one second.
Okay, you guys have any questions in the audience?
Yo, all right. I don't know if you're there, Axel. I got
Yeah,
I got company. I'm sure your stream's been going for a couple hours, so we might as well just wrap it up. Unless you want to keep talking by yourself, I don't know, but
I was ending it in 10 minutes, but okay.
yeah, I gotta go. So I'll catch you later. Thanks for having me. Uchihas and all that goodness. Let me know when you want to have an Uchiha discussion. And yeah, catch you
Yeah,
later.
of course. Later. Okay, so if anyone has any questions you'd like me to talk about before I end it, obviously the people are gone, so I'll answer the questions before I turn it off if y'all want. Okay. I'm gonna give a few minutes because someone wants to hop in. If it takes too long, I'm just gonna turn it off. Instead of maybe 5 minutes. So if you don't mind a few minutes of silence, unless you ask questions, I'm just silent for a while. Okay, it's gonna take a little while, so I'm just gonna end right here. It'll probably be a next video. Release 1 or 2 videos of any anime roughly once a week. So go subscribe and whatnot. You see some more content with other people. So X.4 signing off.